Today's episode of the Riderflex podcast is sponsored by our friends at Truman's, a company that's taking the clutter out of cleaning. Seriously, have you ever noticed the hundreds of single-use cleaning bottles filled with toxic ingredients at the store? Well, Truman's is fixing all of that with a lineup of non-toxic cleaners and refill cartridges. Check them out at trumans.com. And on today's episode of the Riderflex podcast, here are some tips to protect yourself from a layoff. Recording this on April 18th, by the way, 2020, right in the middle of the coronavirus. Lots of companies laying people off right now. I hope that stops soon, but as of today, there are people doing that, so thought it would be timely for me to put this message out. I have also personally been involved with companies that had to do layoffs. I myself, as an executive, had to be the person to look at a list of names and check people off. So I've been through it. I have lots of experience at it. Thought I'd give you some advice. Here's the deal. This is the thing to remember about a layoff situation. There is a list of names. Somebody is looking at that list and making selections for the layoff. That's right. A human being is selecting the people on the list. Not a robot, okay? It's not some black and white systematic thing where they just, some machine checks your name because your job is somewhat duplicated or overlaps with Mary's job. That's not always how it works. A lot of times, in fact, most of the time, it's a judgment call based on a human being looking at a list. And often it's your supervisor or maybe your boss's boss looking at that list. They're looking at it, they're going down it, they're checking names. Remember, they're human, right? They have emotions, they have instincts, they have personality, all these things that affect their judgment when they're checking people off of the list. So, how do you protect yourself? Well, the answers or the tips I'm going to give you here probably aren't going to save you if your company's doing a layoff next week, because this stuff takes time. Relationships. For all you listeners out there of this podcast that think, oh, I'm really good at my job and I can tactically deliver XYZ and that's all that matters, and I don't have to play office politics. I don't have to worry about whether or not anybody likes me. I can be an asshole. As long as I do a good job, it doesn't matter. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Now your company's going through a layoff and it's right in the middle of the coronavirus and it's April 18th of 2020. And guess what names are going to get checked off the list? The assholes, the drama people, right? All the ones that cause problems that nobody likes. They're going to go on this list. I can promise you. That's who's going to get picked. I know some of you are thinking, oh, it should only matter, what they can deliver and the work they deliver, etc. Well, I'm just telling you, that's not the case. That's not reality. Right now is when companies will look at a list and they'll get rid of dead weight. They'll get rid of the drama queens, the drama kings, the assholes, the jerks, the people that are half-assing it. All those folks are going to go in a layoff situation. So if you have done a piss poor job of making sure that your boss likes you, you might be on the list. I know it would be nice if we lived in a world where personalities and politics and relationships didn't matter, but it does. Okay, we're all human beings. It matters, trust me. For all the episodes that I've put out there on the Riderflex podcast about how important relationships are in the office, now is when you're realizing what I meant. During a layoff, they're going to pick the people that didn't do a very good job at relationships. Trust me, you have a much bigger chance of making the list if you went around pissing people off for the last 2 years. Okay? So the summary is this. Always remember to protect yourself within the office environment and on the team. some relationship management and people skills and those types of things. It matters. It really does. So even if your boss themselves, even if they're an asshole, you still have to work to make them like you to a certain degree so that you're protected in situations like this. It is what it is. I don't care if you think it's fair or not. These are human beings making these decisions, and I just want to caution you and remind you of how important that is. Okay, so don't be so cocky next time. Make sure you're building relationships so that you can protect yourself in a situation like we're in today. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day. The Riderflex podcast features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. Our show can be heard just about anywhere these days, but you can visit riderflex.com and click on the podcast page to hear all the previous episodes and learn more about the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Contact us at the email address info@riderflex.com or 888-964-5876. Thanks so much for listening, and if you enjoy our show, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes.